joining me. I thought I would do a brief explanation of the next steps that we need in order to continue making this beast. So, how is everybody? I'm sorry, I'm still a little sick. Ill, more so. I am doing this on the fly, so I have got mouse clicks this time. And we are going to use ZBrush and display on the king. So, in order to now paint them so they look like wood, we need to create all these texture maps. Texture maps are color information that are used to do everything from display roughness or shininess to the color of the object to the way the light bends around an object. So let me just get this for you here. So I set up a little chessboard for us to look at, while we do our thing. This is what you saw in the image. Without this grid. But yeah. So this is a king, and so is this. The difference being is that it has UVs. So this is our king with only a black material on it. And remember, a material is a mathematical equation to see and explain how light and color interact with an environment on an object. Now, textures can override that and help push that. Here, we need to UV an object. So I've gone ahead and done it, so I'll just explain it. Now, this is a face, this is an edge, and we know that. You've seen me work with that many times. But the hidden feature to this geometry are the UVs, the unilateral and the verticals. These little dots. Each vertex point comes with a UV point in space. And you think of it as a skin. Think of this as the skeleton and the UV as the skin. So you can see we have an object which I have skinned, and I have laid out the UVs from this this mess? Look at this face. It's a square and it's huge. But in reality, it is quite a long rectangle. So here you can see I have made it a rectangle. Now this is not the, it's the easiest way to UV this. You can see if I move this around, it puts the skin somewhere else. Now anyway, I can take this now skinned mesh, export this selection, come over here, and there we have it, now in ZBrush. And you can check that by morphing UVs. That is my mesh in a 2D space. That is what UVs are. They're a 2D representation of a 3D object. So I've actually gone ahead and put some detail into one of these. Here we go. I have carved in, based off the photo, the grooves necessary. These I made a little thick, but use quick demo. I will perfect the rest of them. I also put a bit of surface breakup. So we need to get this detail onto these UVs. Now let's just rename this new UV. And let's call this one detail. Okay. So I want to project all of my information, all of this information. There we go. Okay, we're back on track. Now, let's make this happen. We need to project all of the detail from here down to here. object is done, all of the detail is driven down to a new mesh. Alright, so what do we do from here? Well, we need to bake a normal map. So a normal map is a map. There we are. Tangent, smooth, yeah, we're fine. A normal map is essentially a direction. It explains curve and the way the normals of an object point, so that when light hits an object, it knows where to move, where to reflect, where to refract, everything. Whether something should cast a shadow or not. And it kind of looks like this. Let me just pop open Photoshop. So, I don't know if you can tell, but this here is an indent. Maybe if I go here, you can see it better. So, this map drives surface normal detail. And now we need to bake an object space. Target. Okay. So here we have a baking, and what this does is I'm baking the same idea, the same map, but instead of tangential, which essentially means it can stand anywhere. There's no specific world coordinate. It just exposes the normal in the direction of the outward area. Whereas the map that I just baked gives a very specific color based on the direction that it sits in the world. this might take a little while. Okay. So, much better. Very sharp. So, you can see here that it has this spectrum of colors, and that is to denote in a literal sense in the world which face points which way. That will come in handy later when we paint. So this, if I were to rotate the object, would break this map, because this face points, let's say, south. So if I were to face it north, it would not know how to deal with the light. This one is generic. If I were to point this face anywhere, any light information will know how to react to this. So, now, all of this has been coming to one specific moment. And let me just load up the mesh here. Just loading up the maps so I can show you the painting side of this. Let's get started. Okay, so here we have our piece. Now let's add some material, and it's wood, so let's just go directly to the woods. Let's give it a deep, deep mahogany. Let's start there. Now that was simple, wasn't it? Here we have a smart material in action. So you can see now how it reacts in the lighting environments. Different lighting environments. But this is very specific. Wood, ours is quite dark, so we can darken that. Now kill some of the red. And this is key here. Our pieces, according to our reference, So we can have a very dull surface. Or we can take this roughness here and darken the black value, and that will tighten the roughness. And it also has these lighter browns, but I will get into exactly the process beyond here. We can add fingerprints in here, which we will do, but this is where we're at now, the beauty side of things. So join me in the future and we will get started on some very interesting stuff. Sorry for the quick back and forth videos, but I just wanted to explain the upcoming process very lightly, and I will make some shotgun videos that are 10-15 minutes long, explaining each of the steps I just showed you in a more in-depth experience.